feel like we're in a good spot today. I want to welcome everybody to December 11th edition of the Flight Plan. Hey, listen, I am so grateful for all of our guys here at the Fly Like an Eagle Network. We had a great week last week in Massachusetts, and I am super sorry that we weren't able to get connected last week. But kind of real quick, I wanted to touch on, make sure you're in Canva. The whole point of marketing and creating the opportunity for our business is creating better opportunities with graphics. We have to learn how to be better at graphics. I go back to my days in junior high school when I was the editor of our annual staff, and it was interesting how we put things together on documents or on sheets. We had to clip out photos, and we had to do typeset type stuff, very different. But balance was also one of the big things that we talked about back in the day for marketing and for books. So everything has to be balanced. Logos have to be perfectly placed. There's a significant difference between a JPEG and a PNG image. Make sure that all of your logos are shared on a PNG image, not a JPEG, meaning that you don't want a white background. You want your logos just to balance or basically float on top of the screen. So get better at Canva. We'll talk about taking a Canva class somewhere down the line. But I do think that is something that is super, super important for agents, no matter what you're doing, is to learn how to be better at marketing. That's one of the items of our business structure is marketing. We tell our sellers we're better at marketing than the edX guy. How do we do it? Well, we've got to be better at knowing how to create the right graphics. I remember several years ago, we were able to put our logos on top of our photos before we shared them. We had little bars on everything that we would share socially that said contact Rick at this particular phone number for this particular listing. So make sure you're doing those things at a high level when everything that you post has to have some type of a contact information on it. It's super important that the consumer can find you through your marketing. And so having that information set up is really great. One of the other things that we wanted to do today is thank Tammy Goodman. She's our mortgage girl. She's the one that helps sponsor these types of flight plans. We're really excited about being in partnership with Tammy Goodman and the mortgage girl. She's amazing, and we've had several clients that have closed some transactions with her, and they absolutely love the speed to the conversation. She's super knowledgeable and would love to help you with any of your buyer needs. So let's dive deep into this. So it's amazing to think that we only have 14 days left until Christmas. I mean, that to me is absolutely bonkers. 14 days to the holidays, and I hope you guys are planning on spending some quality time with family. Listen to a great podcast. I want to thank Jeremy Williams for sending me this. It was a podcast from Ed Milet. And he talked about separation. You know, how do we separate ourselves from the pack? There's so many agents that are going to take the next several weeks. They're going to tone down their business. They're going to basically go into relaxation mode. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to say that they're doing it wrong, because they're doing it the way they want to run their business. However, let's think about this from a couple of different perspectives. If we are going to take 2 weeks off during this period of time between now and Christmas, and then maybe some additional time during the holidays, it could be very detrimental to our particular closings that we may have in January and February. So if you want low volume months in those 2 months, take time off now, and just know that your commission dollars might be weaker in January and February if you are not actively working your systems. So how do you separate yourself? Well, according to Ed, it's really simple. You just got to make sure you're taking those daily doses of your work and continuing to do the things that you're already doing. He mentioned something I thought was pretty interesting, that Christmas is a holiday, New Year's Day is a holiday, and it's not Holo Month or Holo Week or anything like that. So enjoy your time with your family, but be very, very, very focused on the things that you can do to continue to build your business. So holiday planning, make sure you're doing it, having fun with your family, but also make sure you're plugging in times for your business as well, because I think that's super, super, super important. This past weekend, I saw a really interesting Facebook post that I thought was pretty appropriate and kind of right on time. And it basically said, It was asking agents that have closed over $250,000 in gross commission income to offer advice to new agents or struggling agents, agents that are having a tough time. And I thought it was some interesting. There was a ton of great comments on there, and there were several that stood out to me. One of the ones was be consistent. So it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, the separation. Be consistent in the things that you're doing. Don't stop just because it's Christmas holidays. Continue to do the things that you're doing in your business, planning your work time and planning your off time with family this time of year. Second, another good friend of mine mentioned to come just show up. Think about what happens when you just dedicate the time to work and you just show up. Be strategic in your calendars. Just know the timing that you've got to do. It's more critical than ever is your calendar during the next 30 days from today into the first part of the new year. So always show up. Plan on that in your calendar. Mastering time management was another big topic in there. Again, kind of goes back to what's on your calendar. It exists. If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. So make sure you've got shopping time allotted. Make sure you've got, your haircut times. Make sure you look great for the holiday photos. So those things have to be plugged in accordingly, and make sure your time management is done efficiently. Keep making new connections. Every day, our goal is to add people to our database. Are we doing that through internet paid ads, or are we doing it through our sphere of influence? Are we doing it through specialized friend requests that are strategic? But make sure we're continuing to make new connections. Talk to your sphere weekly. How important is that? That if you have those types of things, and this actually is one of my top 3 that we'll go in through, but talk to your sphere weekly, and we'll talk about how to do that efficiently. Another person made this comment: your schedule is your boss. If it's not on your schedule, it doesn't exist. And who are you accountable to? Are you accountable to your brain, who thinks I've got these things to do? Or are they really drafted out in a measurable calendar that knows that I get up at this particular time, I'm at the office, whether that's a dedicated space or if it's in your home office. If it's in your home office, have a time that you're going to go sit in that chair. Have a time that you're going to get up for refreshments, or you got to go to take a bathroom break, or you have lunch scheduled. Super important to have these things on your calendar, because your calendar is your boss. I thought that was interesting. Set appointments no matter what. Now, this was interesting because, thinking about this, we always think about appointments as listing appointments or buyer consultation appointments. Well, appointments are conversations. Appointments are dedicated real estate conversations. Every appointment that you have has to have some sort of real estate speculation to it, whether it's introducing yourself to a buyer or a seller or a renter, or to another agent with opportunities about your team or your brokerage, things of that nature. You have to have appointments. Appointments start with just basic conversations. I call a conversation with your sphere of influence a dedicated appointment. So as you're going through all these things and you're showing up, you're setting your calendars, you're putting all this in place, appointments do count. And it doesn't matter, even if it's with a friend or a coworker, always ask them, how are things going with their home, and when do they anticipate them making a transition? Number 8 was have a marketing campaign. Do we have marketing campaigns? How cool would it be to take some time over the course of the next while? It may be a little bit slower in the appointment setting. If we did dedicate some time to creating those marketing campaigns, how are we branding ourselves to our friends and family so that when the time comes to refer somebody, you're top of mind to get that next opportunity to help someone buy or sell property. All right. The other things that stood out to me was CRM campaigns. Now, if we think about this, for instance, do we even operate out of a CRM? Contact relationship management. This is a huge win for the real estate agents. Those that do this at a high level, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. Your database will never be perfect. Hear me when I say this. Your database will never be perfect. I don't care how many hours you spend on it. It's only perfect if you have 10 people in it. But if you want to be really successful in business, you need to have at least 1,000 people in a database. And you probably already have it. If you think about it, from the number of people that you have on Facebook, the number of people you have as contacts on your phone, the number of people that you may have on relationships within LinkedIn, the email contacts, everybody has at least 1,000 people that are in their systems. You got to have that. And if the goal from that 1,000 people is to get 10, 15, 20 transactions a year from that database, just think about it. If you could imagine having 1,000 people in your database and getting 10 transactions this past year, then you know that ratios. In order to get to 20, maybe I need 2,000. If I want to get to 30, maybe I need 3,000. So I have to be purposeful about adding people to my database. And we do that through campaigns. So we put these into our CRM. Now we've got to communicate with these people. We have potential buyers, we have potential sellers, we have potential tenants. Everybody in your database is probably living in a home. Very rarely do we have homeless people in our database. And if we do, gosh, that's something that we may be able to work towards helping and resolving those issues. It breaks my heart to see homeless. And I just wish that was something that we could do a better job with here in the United States, but whole nother different topic of conversation. So how many people do you need in your database? Well, that's just going to have to, you can go look in this past year and see, did I communicate with it effectively? If I did communicate with it effectively, how many closings did I get from that? And that's your conversion number. And that's how you figure out, if I want to do more, if I want to double my business, double your contacts in your database. So what do we need to do for our database? Number one is our buyers. How can we set up a contact situation for all of our buyers? I believe that everybody in your database, buyers, sellers, doesn't matter. Everybody should have a new listing alert. You can have a broad alert for buyers that have a specific type of 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom home with a swimming pool, 3-car garage, 2,500 square feet, whatever those search parameters are. You need to be very broad in all of that. But imagine if you had a new listing report being sent to every person in your database that was close proximity to their house. Everybody wants to know what the neighbors' homes are selling for. So imagine if you have a friend who's actually driving home from work one day, and all of a sudden they see this sign pop up in the yard, and then either that day or a few days later, they get an email that says 123 Easy Street is now for sale for whatever number that is. How cool would it be that you're the first person to get that information to them? They all love it. Everybody should be on a new listing alert. It's super important. Either close proximity so they can manage their own values for their own property, or very, very broad for specific buyers who are indeed actively looking for a property. Now, sellers also need to, instead of just having that new listing alert, sellers also need to have a market report being sent to them at least once a month. Please send everybody who owns a home in your database. If somewhere down the line, they will sell that house. It could be this year, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, but everybody historically sells a property. And if it's not them, it's their kids when unfortunately a situation happens when somebody passes away. But every property will sell. Now imagine if you had a market report being sent to your database every month. And here's the conversation. This is how it goes. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, it's Rick. So glad to hear from you. Hope you're having a wonderful holiday, or whatever timeline it is. Hope you're having a great day. Hey, listen, we've got a wonderful tool for you. I'd love to set this up for you, and I don't want you to feel like it's going to overwhelm you, but we've got a market report that we send out. And what this does is it collects data from your neighborhood. It takes all of the sales. It also ties to the properties that are currently for sale, and it blends all this stuff to kind of give you an idea of what your home is currently worth. Now, you may not need to know that on a monthly basis, but just like bank statements, you look at your account periodically. Well, wouldn't it be great to kind of have an idea of what your home is doing? Some months it might appreciate, some months it might come down, depends on market timing and everything. But it's super important that you as a home seller, you're aware of market conditions that are creating the adjustment to your home value. And we do that with these market reports. So I'd love to send this to you. If you need to, just create another filter that's got my name on it, or my house, whatever it may be, but then forward all these over to that folder. And then you have it where it's not blocking your inbox, but at least it's there. You know where to go and go pull this information up so that you can get a quick assessment. Get something that's coming from real data, not an algorithm like comes from some of these other things that gives you an estimate of what your home is worth. Track it with real data, and that way you'll be able to see exactly what's going on. And then call me, Rick, to clarify some of that stuff. So if you have these types of things that you need, those are beautiful ways to keep up with home values. And those are things that need to be with everybody. Tenants, great way to keep up with tenants too. Even if you plug somebody into a rental, find out where they're wanting to go next. And then start the process. Say, listen, I know you might be here for a year or 2 or 3. In a perfect world, where would you like to live and how much would you like to spend? Let's set that up for you. That would be wonderful. That's what you set up for buyers. Now, we also want to create campaigns. In addition to the new listing alerts, in addition to the market reports that are going out, we want to make sure that we're staying in touch. We will have specific questions. Now, what's interesting, drip campaigns, when we attach a campaign to a particular contact, it's going to set up a series of emails and text messages if you have the right CRM for that. And it might even encourage you to make a phone call during that period of time. But you need at least 12 to 20 touches for drip campaigns, and they need to last at least a year. And one of those notifications need to be direct back to you that says that this campaign is ending. It's super important to know when a campaign is ending so that you can make whatever kind of adjustments that you need to. Maybe someone was in the more than a year category that now that year has passed, they now might be in the 3 to 6 month category, or they may change their mind and need another year. Let's put them into another drip campaign. These messages should also be super, super short and super sweet. Hey, just checking in on you. How are things going? If there's anything that I can do for you, remember to give me a call. And by the way, when do you anticipate making your next move? Every campaign that you send out, every email, every text message, and by the way, every phone call should end with some type of a question mark. I was taught this several years ago, and it's super easy to do. You just have to think about the right question. But instead of sending an email that says, hey, I'm here for you, I'm ready when you are, what's going to happen with that email? Oh, great, Rick's ready when I am, so I don't respond. Now, let's change that up. It says, hey, it's Rick, just wanted to check in. Hope things are going well for you guys. Out of curiosity, when do you anticipate making a move? Have you been receiving my emails? Have there been any properties that you have any particular interest in? Should I make some adjustments to your property search? All of these things are great questions in your drip campaigns that just say, I'm here for you. Anytime you need something, please reach out to give me a call. And by the way, ask the question. Anything I can do for you today? If you were to pick one property that you could go see today, which would it be? Those are great questions to ask buyers. Now, from a seller's perspective, you can send them things that are, somebody says, I'm going to sell my home in a year. Right, so we have 12 months of drip campaigns. How cool would it be that says, hey, I found a really great way for curb appeal. Would you be interested in getting that that press release, or we're getting the link to that particular thing? Don't just send it that says, here's a link to Pretty Doors, because they'll click the link and they won't tell you which door they like. So if you did send them the link to that, say there's a list of 3 doors in here, I would love to know which door you like the best. I like unit 1 or unit 2. Which one did you prefer? So they'll go in and go, well, Rick liked that one, so maybe I like what he chose, or I might like something different. So if it's landscaping, if it's painting, if it's roofing, whatever type of home improvement tip, there are 12 to 20 home improvement tips that you can come up with. And the cool thing is these have to be authentic. They've got to come from you. The ones that are pre-programmed into the CRM tools, and it doesn't matter what company have, they've got basics that are in there. They look basic. They don't look sharp, and they don't sound like they're coming from me. It's important to go in and create your own. Take some time to do this. It's what we're in business for, is to attract business. So let's do it the right way. The other thing is talk to your sphere of influence weekly. Now, I think that even during the holidays, and this was one of the things they talked about on that podcast that Ed Milet talked about, is separating yourself. Don't wait until Christmas Day to send out the obligatory Merry Christmas deal. Take some time over the next couple of weeks, pick 3 to 4, 5 people a day, 10 people a day, however many people you want to reach out to, and send them this text message. Hey, I've been thinking about you. I know the holidays are going to be super busy. I wanted to be one of the first to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. And you might even ask them a question too. How many people are you planning on hosting at your house? They're going to say, well, we're going over to this person's house, or we're going to have this. Hey, what's your meal of choice for Christmas Day? Ours is turkey and ham. What is yours? You know, these are great ways to create that level of engagement. And then you're able to say, wish you happy holidays, but get that question asked so that you can get that response. Super important to do that. Talk to your sphere of influence daily. I will tell you this too. Liking posts and things of that nature are important, but you need to take it offline. You need to send direct messages or text messages. That's the best way to engage the relationship to a whole nother level. And another thing that you can do is for happy birthdays. So in 2024, if you really want to clean up your Facebook friends list, every day, make it a point, put it on your calendar, wish everybody a daily happy birthday. It might be 3 people, it could be 15 people, it could be a lot. Now imagine if you went through that list, you sent everybody a direct message that said happy birthday, or even called the ones that you like, but even send them a voice message. There's new buttons, new technology out there where you can send a voice. Imagine if you just said, hey, Brenda, super excited. Today's your birthday. I hope you're having a great day. It's Rick. Hope whatever the message may be, enjoy it and go have a great meal. Whatever you do to wish people happy birthday, what a great way to do that. Now, if it's somebody that's not engaging with you or somebody that you just didn't think the relationship was going to be what, it's okay to unfriend somebody. You might have met somebody 10 years ago at a real estate conference that they're not even in real estate today and they're in a different market. And if you feel like that individual can't produce a particular referral for you, don't be friends with them anymore. It's okay. It's okay to defriend people that you haven't engaged with in like 6 months, 6 years, or whatever. They'll tell you the last time you had an interaction with that individual. So unless you feel like that can be somebody that could be beneficial down the road, cut them off. It's just important to do that. So, and I do that with my birthday messages. So show up. Again, we talked about this earlier. You have to show up. It's super important in 2024 that you have on your vision board, show up. Get your ass to work. Go into work, whether it's your home office or a specialized designated space. Show up. Please show up. It's super important that we get really, really busy and focused on this period of time. And we've got to make sure that every single day for 2024, we are programming 3 hours a day of lead generation. Now, we're going to talk about the activities of all that, but just time block. Please, if anything else you do in 2024 is block 3 hours a day for lead generation. Part of that is in your CRM. Part of that is outside a meeting with people. Have a goal every week, every single day of adding people to your database and having those types of conversations. That's going to elevate you to a whole nother level. It's going to increase those conversion opportunities, and it's going to make you a better real estate agent. I promise. All right. Those are the cool tips that I have for today. Create campaigns, be authentic, do it in a way that speaks from your heart to the people that you already have in your database. And I promise you, you will win more transactions by just being authentic and telling people, this is Rick, I'm a realtor, I'm here to help no matter what, give me a shout. I'd love to help be your realtor of choice when it comes time to buy or sell some property. So those are the easy messages to do. Listen, I hope everybody has a great week on their flight plan. I want to thank Tammy again with my mortgage girl for putting all this stuff together and helping us with our promotions. And I hope everybody has a wonderful time. Go have some fun. Make this a different type of holiday. Make this one of the best holiday events ever. Dedicate some time for your family, but don't forget you are still a business owner. Have a great day.